Hi, we're Supply and Demand, and today we're going to be replacing a few parts on the Samsung range model NE59R4321SS. We're going to be replacing the large dual element switch. To get started, pull the correctly marked knob off the front of the stove. There are 2 screws beside this knob that we will leave in place for now. On the back of the range, we will remove the cover panel and set it aside. The supply and demand switch and the OEM switch look different. This can happen with parts as sometimes the configuration will be changed as time goes on. This switch will still work the same as the OEM. All we have to do is move the wires around. However, if you are unfamiliar with or uncomfortable with this type of work, please call a trained service technician to help. Pause here or refer back to this diagram to see how the wires should be plugged in once finished. We will get started by removing the black double connector from the OEM switch. This will have a gray wire that corresponds with the connector marked 2, and a black wire that corresponds with the connector marked P2. You will have to use snippers or scissors to cut the flat plastic center of this connector. Be careful not to cut any of the wires. Once the connector has been cut, you can plug the gray wire into the supply and demand switch connector marked 2. The black wire will plug into the switch connector marked P2. Next, remove the small white connector with the red wires. This is plugged into the OEM switch connector marked P1. Once removed from the OEM switch, we can plug it into the supply and demand switch connector marked P1. The supply and demand switch has 2 connectors side by side in this spot, and it can attach to either one. Once that connector is plugged in, we can remove the blue double connector from the OEM switch. This will have a brown wire that corresponds with the connector marked 4A and a white wire that corresponds with the connector marked 4. With a flathead screwdriver or other flat thin tool, carefully press the locking tab inside of the slot with the brown wire to release it from the blue connector. Once released, the brown wire plugs into the supply and demand switch connector marked 4A. The white wire can be plugged into the connector marked 4. Now we will remove the white double connector. This has a blue wire that corresponds with the connector marked S1, and a dual brown and black wire that corresponds with the connector marked S2. This connector will need to be cut in the middle as well. Once cut, the dual black and brown wire can be plugged into the supply and demand switch connector marked S2. Now the blue wire can be plugged into the connector marked S1. Remove the OEM switch from the oven by unscrewing the 2 screws situated behind the knob on the control panel. Once removed, slide the new supply and demand switch into place and reattach to the control panel with the same screws. Replace the range knob and put the cover panel back on if finished. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if this video helped you out, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below.